There are men a woman dates, and then there's the man she never forgets. The one who leaves a mark not because he was perfect, but because he made her feel something real. Every woman, no matter how confident or experienced she seems, carries the memory of one man who stood out, who moved differently, spoke differently, and carried himself with quiet power. He wasn't desperate for her approval, and he didn't try to impress. He was grounded, present, and intentional. And that kind of man doesn't fade from her mind. In today's world, women are constantly surrounded by attention, messages, compliments, validation, social media, noise. But here's the thing. All that attention blends together. It's repetitive, predictable, and forgettable. Most men act the same because they're trying to be liked. But the man she remembers is the one who makes her feel his absence when he's not around. He gives her something emotional, psychological, even spiritual, something no amount of flattery can match. Women remember men who impact their emotions, who make them feel calm in chaos, challenged when they are too comfortable, and seen when everyone else only stares. It's not about games, it's about presence, discipline, and depth. She doesn't remember the man who begged for her time. She remembers the one who made her earn his attention. She doesn't remember the man who tried to fix her mood. She remembers the one who stayed unshaken by it. This video is about the 7 things that make a woman remember you deeply, quietly, and long after you've walked away. These are the traits that separate forgettable men from unforgettable ones. Learn them, live them, and you'll never have to chase another woman again. But before we start, listen carefully. What you see here in my channel is just a preview, not the full picture. If you really want to master the dating game and learn how modern relationships actually work, don't waste time. Rush right now to http://www.stoicapproachtolife.com/agvls, or go to my description and click the link below and unlock the real strategies, the real teachings, the real results. Don't just watch, level up today. So let's get started. Be her calm, not her chaos. 1. Be her calm, not her chaos. A woman never forgets the man who gives her peace. Not comfort, not control, peace. In a world full of noise, emotional drama, and constant attention, calm energy stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. Most men don't realize how deeply women crave stability. They're surrounded by men who mirror their emotions, who argue, chase, and react. But the man who stays grounded when she's moody, who listens instead of exploding, who doesn't rise to every test, that man becomes unforgettable. Calm energy is rare because it comes from discipline. You can't fake it. You earn it through control of your emotions, your time, and your reactions. When she tries to trigger you and you stay collected, she feels it. She might not show it, but internally she's drawn to your steadiness. You become the emotional anchor she never realized she needed. This doesn't mean being passive or quiet all the time. It means you choose your emotional tone intentionally. When she's overthinking, you stay simple. When she's dramatic, you stay steady. When she pulls away, you don't chase. You hold frame. That quiet strength builds trust, and trust builds attraction. Think about it. Everyone is loud today. People overshare, overreact, and over-explain. Calmness has become a superpower. It signals control, maturity, and mystery. When you're calm, you communicate without words, that you're not easily moved, that you've seen enough of life to handle whatever comes your way. Women remember how you make them feel. When she's around you, doesn't mean fixing her problems. It means refusing to be part of the chaos. You stand firm. You don't fight emotional storms. You let them pass. Because when she realizes she can't shake your peace, she'll respect it, and she'll never forget it. Make her feel seen, not just looked to. Make her feel seen, not just looked at. Every woman gets attention. Compliments, emojis, likes, all of it. But very few women actually feel seen. That's the difference between every other man and the one she never forgets. The average guy notices her body. The unforgettable man notices her energy. He catches what she's not saying. He sees the small details, her tone when she's not okay, her silence when something's off, the way she changes when she's truly comfortable. That level of awareness hits deeper than looks ever could. When a woman feels seen, she drops her guard. She lets you into spaces she hides from everyone else. That's when emotional connection starts. Not when you flatter her, but when you understand her. And this doesn't come from guessing games or manipulation. It comes from presence. Most men listen to reply. The man she remembers listens to understand. Look her in the eyes when she talks, not with hunger, but with focus. When she tells a story, remember details. When she changes her energy, mirror it with calm interest. When you notice small things, not her outfit, but the way she fidgets when she's nervous, or the way she looks away when she's proud, you show her that she matters beyond surface level. That's what separates connection from attraction. Being observant doesn't mean being overly emotional or intrusive. You don't need to dig into her childhood or try to fix her feelings. You just pay attention without judgment. You make her feel understood without saying, "I understand." It's in your tone, your patience, your curiosity. Women live in a world that constantly objectifies them. So when they meet a man who can read their emotional language, it's disarming, it's rare, and rare things leave marks. When she realizes that you see her without trying to own her, respect replaces resistance. Most men think confidence is what women remember. Confidence gets attention, but emotional intelligence earns memory. She can forget compliments. She won't forget how you made her feel safe in her own vulnerability. The man who truly sees her doesn't just look at her, he looks into her without losing himself in the process. That balance of strength and awareness is unforgettable. Once she's experienced it, every other man feels shallow in comparison. Be consistent when others fade. 3. Be consistent when others fade. Consistency is one of the most underrated forms of attraction. Every woman remembers the man who showed up the same way, calm, reliable, and steady, no matter what was happening around him. The truth is, most men are inconsistent. They start strong, then lose interest. They act confident, then vanish when things get complicated. That inconsistency creates confusion, and confusion kills trust. But the man who remains solid, who doesn't flinch when things get messy, earns a permanent place in her memory. Consistency doesn't mean chasing or overgiving. It's about emotional stability. You say what you mean and you follow through. If you said you'd call, you call. If you said you'd be there, you show up. It's simple but powerful. Because women live in a world full of promises that fade, and when your actions match your words, you stand out. When you're consistent, you build emotional safety. You teach her that your mood doesn't shift with her mood, that you don't disappear when things aren't convenient, and that your respect isn't conditional. That steadiness lets her guard down, not because she needs you, but because she can trust you. But don't confuse consistency with being predictable. Never doubts your character. She knows what kind of man she's dealing with, even if she doesn't always know what you'll say next. That mix keeps her interest alive and her respect growing. Women test consistency without realizing it. They'll pull away, act distant, or throw attitude just to see if your energy changes. Most men overreact or retreat in frustration. The man she never forgets doesn't. He stays calm, composed, and centered. His energy isn't conditional on her approval. It's rooted in self-respect. When you remain consistent in a world where everyone gives up easily, you become a memory she compares others to. Because every woman eventually realizes that charm fades, attraction fluctuates, but stability, that's rare. That's what she comes back to mentally even years later. So keep your word. Be steady in presence, tone, and energy. You don't have to be perfect, just reliable. Women forget the men who talk big but vanish. They never forget the man who said little but showed up every time. Stay mysterious, never predictable. 4. Stay mysterious, never predictable. A woman's mind is drawn to curiosity. What she can't fully read, she keeps thinking about. That's why mystery is such a powerful pull. The man she never forgets is the one she couldn't completely figure out. Not because he was playing games, but because he had layers she kept discovering over time. Most men give everything away too quickly. They reveal their emotions, their plans, their insecurities, their whole story in one breath, trying to build connection fast. But connection built too quickly burns out just as fast. Mystery, on the other hand, builds anticipation. It makes her wonder, and when she's wondering, she's investing mental energy in you. That's how memory forms. Mystery doesn't mean silence or manipulation. It means self-control. You don't need to explain every decision, overshare every thought, or always be available. You let her earn access to your world. You let time and trust reveal you piece by piece. When she realizes that not everyone gets to know you deeply, it increases your value instantly. Being mysterious also means having a life that exists outside her. Goals, hobbies, discipline, focus, things you do because they matter to you, not because they impress her. That independence creates depth. She starts to realize that you're not waiting for her to define your life. You already have direction. That makes you magnetic. Predictable men are easy to forget because they make no emotional imprint. You know what they'll say, how they'll react, and what they'll do next. But the mysterious man, he's unpredictable in a controlled way. He can be warm one moment and quiet the next, not out of mood swings, but because he moves with purpose, not validation. That unpredictability keeps her mentally engaged. When she can't label you, she keeps studying you. That's when you live in her thoughts. Women are naturally drawn to emotional puzzles, and a man who holds back just enough to keep her guessing becomes unforgettable. You don't need to pretend to be someone else. You just need to stop explaining yourself so much. Let your actions speak. Let your silence hold weight. Let your focus create curiosity. Because when you're not easily read, you're not easily replaced. And once a woman feels that mystery, that quiet confidence, that subtle unpredictability, she can't unsee it. Every man after you will feel like he's showing his entire hand while you're the one who made her want to play the game in the first place. Control your emotions. Control the dynamic. 5. Control your emotions. Control the dynamic. If there's one thing that instantly separates unforgettable men from forgettable ones, it's emotional control. Every woman remembers the man who never lost his center, the one who could stay calm when she got emotional, grounded when she tested him, and steady when the situation. Emotional impact. See, women pay attention to how a man reacts. They watch how his tone changes when he's frustrated, how he behaves when he's challenged, and how easily his mood shifts. Most men fail these quiet tests without realizing it. They get defensive, needy, or angry when things don't go their way. But the man, she, never forgets. He doesn't flinch. His emotions don't spill everywhere. He knows his value, and that calm becomes power. Emotional control doesn't mean being cold. It means you master your responses. You can feel everything. Attraction, anger, jealousy, but you express it on your terms. You don't let emotions make your choices for you. That level of discipline commands attention. It tells her, I lead myself, no one else does. Women find peace in that energy, not because they want control, but because they crave stability. When you can stay calm in her storm, you become her anchor, not by fixing her, but by standing firm. And when she feels that grounded presence, she can't forget it, because most men collapse under emotional pressure. Very few stay composed. Control doesn't just apply to arguments. It shows in how you handle interest, rejection, or attention. When she pulls away, you don't chase. When she tests you, you don't overreact. When she compliments you, you don't lose focus. You keep your emotions steady, not too high, not too low. That consistency is power. And remember, emotional control doesn't mean repression. It's awareness. You know when to speak, when to stay silent, and when to walk away. You move with purpose, not impulse. That kind of restraint is rare, and rare always leaves a mark. She might forget what you said, but she'll never forget how unshakable you felt, because deep down, every woman wants to feel that energy. A man who's calm under pressure, whose emotions don't own him. That's the kind of presence that stays in her memory long after the conversation ends. When you control your emotions, you control the frame. And when you control the frame, you become the man she measures everyone else against. Walk away with dignity. 6. Walk away with dignity. One of the strongest impressions a man can leave on a woman is how he walks away. Not when things are easy, but when the energy shifts, when she pulls back, when respect fades. Most men panic in that moment. They chase, explain, or beg for another chance. But the man she never forgets. He leaves with dignity. No drama, no guilt, just silence, calm, and finality. See, women remember endings more than beginnings. How you handled the last moment defines the entire story in her mind. If you walk away with strength, you become the standard she measures others against. Because very few men have that kind of restraint, that ability to value their peace over her approval. When you walk away with dignity, it tells her you were there by choice, not by need. You weren't addicted to her attention. You were invested, but never dependent. That emotional self-respect is magnetic because it communicates power without aggression. It's quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't need an audience. Here's the truth. Walking away doesn't always mean you stop caring. It means you stop negotiating your worth. You stop explaining why you deserve better treatment. You stop waiting for someone to realize your value. You let your absence speak for you. And that silence echoes louder than any argument ever could. And that's what sticks with her. Because when a man leaves without trying to make her feel guilty, when he simply detaches and moves forward with grace, it hits differently. It forces reflection. She starts replaying memories, moments, mistakes, not because she regrets losing control, but because she realizes she lost you. Dignified detachment is unforgettable. It's the rare mix of strength and peace that every woman eventually forgets does neither. He simply says less, moves on, and lets time reveal who really lost who. You don't need revenge, you don't need closure. The way you carry yourself after it ends is your message. Let your calm be the last thing she remembers. Because that silence, that discipline, that quiet walk away, that's what echoes in her mind long after you're gone. When you master the art of walking away with dignity, you don't just leave her life, you leave your mark. Leave her better than you found her. 7. Leave her better than you found her. The final thing a woman never forgets is the man who left her better. Not the man who gave her butterflies, not the one who impressed her for a moment, but the one whose presence made her grow, heal, and level up emotionally. That kind of man doesn't just take from a connection. He builds something in it. He leaves an imprint that reshapes how she sees herself and what she accepts in her future. Leaving her better doesn't mean fixing her. It means inspiring her through your example. The way you move, think, and treat her becomes a silent standard. You lead with clarity and respect, and without saying it, you challenge her to rise to that same level. Women remember men who impact their mindset, who make them reflect, think differently, and feel safe enough to evolve. Be the man who brings stability to chaos, calm to overthinking, and direction to confusion. When she's around you, she should feel grounded, not because you're trying to control her emotions, but because your own energy is centered. That contrast to the noise she's used to creates peace she won't forget. When you encourage her goals, respect her boundaries, and handle her emotions with maturity, you become unforgettable. Not for what you said, but for the experience you gave her. You made her feel valued without controlling her, desired without pressure, and understood without judgment. That balance makes a lasting emotional imprint. The truth is, women don't remember men who entertained them. They remember the men who helped them grow, the man who made her look in the mirror and see something better, the one who treated her with respect, but never lost his self-respect in the process. That's rare, and rare gets remembered. You don't need grand gestures. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be real. Be the man who keeps his word, who listens with intent, who walks in integrity, and who knows when to stay and when to leave. That energy alone transforms how she views every man after you, because after she's experienced a man who elevated her. Conclusion: emotionally, mentally, spiritually, she'll never settle for less again. And, deep down, she'll always remember the one who showed her the difference between attention and impact. That's how you stay in her mind long after the story ends. By being the man who helped her grow, not just the one who made her feel something. At the end of the day, it's not looks, money, or status that make a woman remember you. It's the impact. It's how you carried yourself, how you handled her emotions, and how you made her feel seen without losing your strength. Women never forget the man who moved with calm power, the one who stayed consistent, controlled, mysterious, and dignified, the one who added peace, not chaos. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to stand on principle, lead with presence, and leave her better than you found her. That's the kind of man she never forgets. And before you go, remember what you've just watched is only a small piece of the puzzle. If you're serious about mastering the dating game and building real confidence in modern relationships, don't wait. Visit http Stoic Approach to Life.com AG right now and get access to the full teaching. That's where the real transformation